Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Hope you're well. Making some money on our gold and silver finally. I'm sure now Luke can relax a little bit. Finally up $30 today. Just a second. All right. So the good word is I don't know what the good word is. The good word is gold and silver are having a fabulous day. So gold's up to 23.38 at its high point. It dropped down to 23.07 at 6 o'clock. So something's happening then. Then it went up. 10 o'clock, it dropped to 23.14. And then since then, it's been 23.38. Had a nice jump a little after 10. Silver, 28.22, is in a nice spot, making its move. There's huge demand for it. And COMEX is, fucking around with their derivatives. So I want to read something to the class, which is so I was looking at how does the prices of COMEX go. Really what I wanted to know is how does it go up? We know the derivatives short the price. We understand that. And the question is, well, why isn't it going up? So I asked that on Google, and here's the answer. The spot price of gold on the COMEX is based on the market price used for futures contracts on the exchange. So it's got nothing to do with supply and demand of the market. It's got nothing to do with the market price. It's the market price used for future contracts. The price of gold is influenced by the supply and demand in the gold future derivative market, not in the actual physical gold and silver, which are set by several banks. Wait a minute, the market's not setting the price. So the price of gold is influenced by the supply and demand in the gold futures derivative markets, which are set by several banks, an oversight committee, and a panel of chair members. The price used by the largest trades each day or hour has the most influence over the. So this has got nothing to do with the market. It has nothing to do with supply and demand. What they're basically saying is, well, the price is going to be based on the derivatives that are done, not the when Costco sells 100 million ounces, doesn't affect the price. When I go to my store, it doesn't affect the price. When they buy gold for the central banks in Asia and Europe and Africa, doesn't affect it. Nothing, no buying and selling. If you sell an ounce or you buy an ounce, is not affected in the price. It's the derivative. So we will read this one more time. This is for you, Luke. The spot price of gold on the COMEX is based on the market price used for futures contracts on the exchange. So it's got nothing to do with me buying 20 ounces or selling 20 ounces or anybody else for that matter. The price of the gold is influenced by the supply and demand in the gold futures derivative markets. So if they sell the derivatives, they're going to lower the price. This is incredible. The price of the gold is influenced by the supply and demand in the gold futures derivative markets, which are set by several banks, an oversight committee, and a panel of chair members. The price used by the largest trades each day or hour has the most influence over the actual spot price. Commodity exchanges rule the market. Precious metals futures are traded around the clock on weekdays on COMEX, the New York-based exchange for precious metals, where the spot price more accurately originates from the ever-changing market price used as the underlying value for futures contracts on the COMEX. So this has nothing to do with me taking my Mahomes card, putting it on eBay, getting a sale. That's what the value is. It's a very simple free market economics. However, we don't see free market here. We see futures contracts, which aren't free market. I'm not sure how they work. How a spot price is set, JM Bullion. Commodity exchange rules the market. Although it is possible that a buyer and seller might independently agree to a futures contract on a product, most futures contracts are traded on a public exchange. Precious metal futures are traded around the clock, where the spot price more accurately originates from ever-changing market price used as the underlying value for future contracts. The price used by the largest trades each day or hour has the most influence over the actual spot price of palladium, gold, silver, and platinum. As we mentioned, most of these trades on COMEX do not involve the actual delivery of the physical metal. In fact, it is estimated that more than 90% of COMEX future contracts are settled without any involvement of their underlying physical metals at all. Now that's changed because on gold you must have the physical. So why do we call it the paper market? And that is why. It's a bunch of bullshit, as we know. And it's really highly illegal. It doesn't fit in the free market, right? Why isn't it based on buying and selling like on eBay? That's the free market. We're at 23.38. How did we get there? Well, based on these derivative prices going up, so there's more buying of the derivatives. What's the derivative? I mean, if China wants to buy 10,000 tons, is that a derivative price? Are they even buying on? Because I think what's happening is they're not even like silver. They're not even using COMEX. And then it's a board member and some other guys who are doing it. Well, wait, if their mission is to keep the price down, then the price ain't going up, even though the market says yes and demand is there. If they say, you know what, we were told to keep the price low on silver so they can do Tomahawk missiles with 500 ounces in them, even though it's there, that's a problem. So, this is such bullshit. So this is the frustration that we all have with gold and silver. It's not, the demand should be moving it now. The cavalry is coming in bricks because they don't want this. They want a real physical price because they want to price their gold-backed currency at a real price of gold. So if they have a ton and then it's $5,000 an ounce for so many, 32,000 ounces versus $3,000 an ounce, they can print a lot more money and they're worth a lot more if it's there. But you need a physical, just like eBay. eBay is a perfect physical market. Mark McGuire, boom. Joe Montana, Mickey Mantle, whatever the buyers and sellers, whatever you sell it for, and there's a buyer for it, whatever he pays you is the market. Not some derivative bullshit and some board going, well, let's make the price. who want to keep the price low. What a bunch of horseshit. So keep that in mind. We're playing in a very strange game with gold and silver. Again, they don't want it to go up because they want to keep printing the money, JP Morgan. So JP Morgan's behind this, and they go, no, keep the price down. So we have a monopoly on printing it. But they've kept it too low too long. So in other words, by keeping the price so low, China and India and Russia are buying and buying and buying the gold. It's limited, so there's no gold left. It's not like dollars where you just keep printing it. You can't do that. Gold is only so much. And if you keep the price low and they keep buying it, guess what? They have it all. And they're not going to stick with this low price. They want a higher price. And you can't do anything because the rules changed that if you don't have the physical gold, you can't do you can't short it. That's why we're excited about it finally getting to a real price. That's why I say the 2,300 is not anywhere close to a real price. So how do we get to the real price? That's where BRICS comes in. That's where Russia and China go, you know what? We need the price. We need a real price because we're going to look at Zimbabwe. They've tied their dollar to gold at the market price of gold, not this bullshit a derivative price, but the real market price, which is 10 times higher than it is. So we're just waiting for this to happen. When this happens, we'll all be filthy rich and loving every minute of it. Now, the question is, when will it happen? I can't answer that except for it's happening very soon. And the thing that's helping us is this BRICS back currency with Russia and China. Where they're going to, get. My knee's hurting me. I got gout in my knee as opposed to gout in my feet. This is a new one. I had some ice cream, and obviously my body, I got to just have one ice cream bar. I bought like a half gallon, and I thought, well, I'll have a scoop here and a scoop there, and too many scoops. Anyway, I'm an idiot. I finally feel good, and then I fuck myself up like that. So anyway, so these numbers are bullshit. This 2820 and 2337 are bullshit numbers. They are paper based on the derivative, and some guy is sitting there going, keep the price down. If they were invested in gold, they might raise the price, but the key is the dollar going out. Once the dollar goes out, gold will go through the roof, and they won't be able to control it the way they are. And they won't want to control it either because, they'll be in gold and they'll want it to go up. And if they're too stupid, it doesn't matter. There's too many people in gold. All right. So that's quickly gold. I wanted to read that to you. That way, Greg and John, I can give you some variety in the class. All right. My. Already, let's go back to yesterday. These games start so fucking early. I missed the 10-star yesterday. San Diego had Dylan Cheese going, and they won. And so I would have won with San Diego. So I kind of started that like, yeah, I had picked that when I woke up. But since I didn't do class till now, I couldn't say it in class, but I did do it. All right. LA Dodgers over 9. And it was 3-1 for some reason. So I lost. Texas, I had Texas game 1. They lost 9-4. I had Cincinnati over 9, and it was a 4-3 game. So I'm starting off great. I got Baltimore under. They play a 7-6 game because it goes 12 innings. If it would have ended in 9, it was 3-2. Washington tied it at the end of 9, but then they went and played 12 innings where they each scored a couple of runs in the overtime. So I picked it right, but I lost. The White Sox over 8 play a 4-1 game. So now I've lost my first 2, 4, 5 games, and then I win the next 5 games. Unbelievable. I have the Yankees. That was my 5 unit. They win 9-4. I have Texas over in game 2. It's 12-11. I win that one. I have Atlanta under 8 for 5 unit, and it wins 5-0. I have San Francisco, which wins 8-6. And then the San Diego game with Dylan Cease. My 10 unit. That was a 10 unit. And they win 3-0. I had it under 8.5 with Dylan Cease. So it was a weird day. I go 5-5. I hit all three of I hit my 2 5 units and my 10 unit play yesterday. So I'm starting to pick which ones I'm going to play, which are my 5 unit plays. Real D asked me yesterday, he says, well, what are you betting? I'm only betting the 5 unit. I also, with the 10 unit Dylan Cease one, I bet. So I bet 3 games out of the mess, and I won all 3. So I'm getting very good at hitting the ones where I'm doing it. I'm very good at the 10 unit ones. When I get to the 10 unit games, I'm hammering them all. Philadelphia, I hit. San Diego under, I hit. Colorado over, I hit. So I'm about 90% on my 10 unit plays, which are not often, but when I do see them, I'm hammering them. Okay, so let's go today's 5-9. And we'll take a look at them. Now, there's already so many games. I mean, these games start at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Minnesota 10, Seattle 1. I don't know what that's about. Arizona 4, Cincinnati 1. Now we can still, this Frisco one just started, Frisco, Colorado. Let's see who's pitching. So I can tell what I would have done based on the pitching. So in this game, there's K Win for Frisco with his 4.41 ERA against Quantrill for Colorado, 4.2. So I would have went over 8 in this game. Now it's already started, but being a class and we're trying to learn, we're looking at 2 pitchers with the 4 ERA, and we're going to go over 8. Okay. Now we've got upcoming 5:05. All right, it's 3:19. So now these are in play. Houston and the Yankees. The Yankees are 135, 8.5. Ronel Blanco, 3-0 with a 209 against Marcus Stroman, 2-2 with a 3.41. We know the Yankees have a good bullpen. Houston's not hitting very well. Although they got a good pitcher going, 3-0 with the 209. So you got really an under team against the Yankees. It's 8.5. The Yankees have been hot, but here's where you got a pitcher that's 3-0 with a 209. That's the equalizer that you don't have in football. If KC's hot and their defense is playing good and you got Mahomes, you just keep betting them, or Joe Burrow. But in this case, here comes this pitcher, dilutes everything going on. So even though you want to take the Yankees, you can't. Now, do I bet it under? Yeah, let's do that. So let's go NYYU 8.5. And that's just going to be a regular bet, but we're scared of Blanco with the 3-0 with a 209 ERA. That New York's going to hammer him. And now they did hammer Verlander. So like I said, that's why I took him yesterday. They beat Verlander, and here they won again. So I'm really scared to bet against them because of they beat Verlander. I think they're going to win the game, but that's why we go to under 8.5, because they're not going to hit this guy. You know, with the 209, the expectations, the outcome that we want is probably going to be low scoring. So we'll go, instead of New York, we'll just say under 8.5 because of this 209 pitcher. Tonight, Chicago and Cleveland. In Chicago and the White Sox, Cleveland. Cleveland on 155 and 8. Ben Lively 1-1 with a 208 against Freddie. Eric Freddie 2-0 with a 3.46. So let's see. We know White Sox can't hit. They're like the high school teams we talk about in college. So Ben Lively gets no decisions, plays low scoring games pretty much. They don't hit for him. So he lost 2-0. He wins 4-1. He loses 4-3. He wins 7-1. Right. It's confusing the way they have it. Innings pitched 5-6, 4-6, runs 1-1, 1-2. So in 4 games, the most he's done is 2, and against Cleveland, against Chicago, you don't see much. Eric Fetty from Las Vegas, our kind of guy. So he's fixing the game. He's pitched quite a bit. 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, and 8. Wow, he pitched 8 innings against Tampa in a 4. He's given up 5 runs, 2-1, 0, a 5, 1-2. 5 against Cleveland, and they're playing Cleveland today, right? See, here's where you start. You can pinpoint it going, okay, against Cleveland, pitched 5 innings, 4 hits, 5 runs. So Cleveland beat him 7-6. So it was a high-scoring game with Cleveland, April 10th. Otherwise, he's pretty good. So we think Cleveland wins. This Fetty can be good. So it's either Cleveland or over under of 8, or Cleveland 155. We like Lively. Fetty's 3-4-6. He had a few bad games. Otherwise, he's pitching very good. So let's go under here. Cleveland under 8. And again, that for the games we want to do strong is when it's bad starting pitching and they're bad bullpen and they can hit. Then we get the trifecta. Then we want to bet it. And the White Sox, they stink. Cleveland is 2.42, 3 good ERA. Yeah, I'll tell you, we're going to go 5 unit on this game. We'll go under. The White Sox have a 5 ERA and a 2.11 batting average. So Cleveland should win the game like 5-2. Just enough to keep under the 8, and everything else. St. Louis and Milwaukee. God, we don't have many games. Well, we had 3 gone already. St. Louis and Milwaukee. Sonny Gray, 4-1 with an 0.89 against Tobias Myers. 0-2. There we go. St. Louis, 5 unit. This is a real 5 unit here. That's what we want. Sonny Gray, 4-1 with a 0.89. And I like Sonny Gray. All right. And against Tobias Myers, you can't bet Myers. He's got a 6.23 ERA. Milwaukee, St. Louis is going to hit him. You ain't hitting Sonny Gray, so it should be 3-0 or something. But I like it. I like betting on Sonny Gray better than under 7.5. Kansas City and California. KC's minus 115, 8.5. Waka 1-4 with the 5-5-0 against Reed Detmers, 3-3 with the 4. We're going over in this game. KC over 8.5. Let's take a look at it. So we got Kansas City, who has a 3.35 ERA, 230 batting average. They're an A team against California, the Angels, who are terrible bullpen, 490, hit about 240. They score 139, but they give up 180. So KC's going to win this game. But because of Waka with this 5.50 ERA, we got to like the over in the game. So KC over 8. So we've got, theoretically 5 plays, but you can only bet on 4. The Yankees under 8.5, Cleveland under 8, St. Louis, KC over 8.5, and the 49ers, which are in the first inning, 0-0. But you can't bet. Well, I don't know if you can do live baseball. So the 2 bets are Cleveland under 8 and St. Louis. St. Louis is your best bet, and then Cleveland. So those are your 2 today. Minnesota. Let's look at Minnesota. Okay, it's 11-1 in the 7th. Let's see how we would have played it. All right. Seattle. Gibby Gilbert started with his 2.94 ERA, and he pitched 4 innings and gave up 8 runs. Wow, that's where you really get fucked. Bizarro, 4.50 ERA, and T. Miller, 3.38 ERA. So what do we get out of this? Is Seattle's bullpen sucks. A 4.50 and a 3.38. But your starter. So the question is, the manager's an idiot, right? So in 4 innings, he gave up 5 runs in the first inning, 1 run in the second, 2 runs in the fourth. So the question is, what the fuck did you never should have got out of the first inning? He gave up 5 runs in the first inning. You got to get the guy out after he starts bad. You lost the game in the first inning, 5-0. Terrible manager. Minnesota, Lopez, 3.89, and their bullpen's a 5.28, but he's pitching with an 11-1 lead, or something like that. 5, 6, 8, 9, with a 9-1 lead. So he didn't put his best bullpen guy out there. Anyway, a 3.89 ERA, where you got he's pitching a 4-hitter, well, Lopez. So you had a 3.89 against a 2.94, probably a low scoring game, especially when we look at this. Minnesota only hits 293, pretty good bullpen, 396, and Seattle only hits 223 with a really good bullpen, or a really good ERA of 2.99, not necessarily bullpen, and the 124. So Seattle's an under team, and here they're playing under, but Minnesota, who I have as a under team, also good ERA 3.96 and a low batting average 2.39. So nothing here shows an 11-1 game, but they just crushed the starter. So theoretically, what you should note, even with this 2.94, which is gone, Gilbert against Minnesota sucks. But how many times is Gilbert going to play Minnesota? They're not in the same division anymore. They used to be, but they're not anymore. It used to be the American League East and American League West, and there was 7 or 8 teams in it. But this is just one that you can't explain it. Good ERA, starting pitching, weak hitting, 11-1. Well, Minnesota got going and just kept it going. Arizona, Cincinnati, 4-4, end of 7. Let's see how this shakes out. See, this is what I mean. You study the box score in the game. If you won or you lost, to try to figure out what's going on here. So let's look at it. It's a 4-4 game, right? So my starting pitcher for Arizona, Shasoni, has a 4.15 ERA. My starting pitcher, Hunter Green, I love the name, with a 3.38. So a 3.38 against a 4.15. This is why I'm like pulling my hair out. I don't know. Probably goes over. I got to look at the hitting. So let's see the rest of them. So who is this? Arizona, their next bullpen guy is 4.05, and he gave up 3 runs, and then a 120 guy. So we can see Arizona's problem is their bullpen sucks. 4.41 ERA. And then we go to Cincinnati, and we see their bullpen, 5.06. Their bullpen sucks with a 4.00. So we make a note here, Cincinnati weak bullpen, and we say Arizona weak bullpen. So we know the Yankees, the Tigers, Boston have good bullpens, but we can see these teams, it's just they bring out a guy with a 5 ERA, and you're like, what are you doing? The game's 1-0, and you bring out a guy with a 5 ERA, and it ain't 1-0 anymore. Green pitches 5 innings for Cincinnati. Gives up 3 runs. No, so we want to, like Arizona, the guy gives up 1 run in the 5th inning, and then the bullpen guy comes out, and it's Arizona now's got a lead of 3-1, and he comes out and gives up 3 runs. Why would you go to this guy in the bullpen with a 4.05 ERA? Again, that shows you how weak that is. I was listening to the idiots on the radio on the way home, and they're trying to understand why the hitting's so bad. And I've explained that the last few days. There's not enough hitters in the league. There's not enough good baseball players to play in the league in the first place. There's too many minor leaguers. There's too many 120 batting averages. So you've got maybe 3 or 4 on each team that can hit 275 or more times 32 teams. So there's a lot. There's 10 guys who have no business being in the major leagues, causing these very low ERA batting averages because they're not. I don't like how they call it OPS or something like that. I don't know what that means. It's not on base percentage. It's like batting average and extra base hits combined. It doesn't mean anything. Either you're a power. See, you would see all that in home runs and RBIs, right? So you would see Roberto Clemente hitting 320, but not a lot of extra base, and then you would see Mickey Mantle hitting 310 with 50 home runs and 100 RBIs, and you go, oh, okay. Obviously, he's a big power hitter, and obviously Clemente hits a lot of singles. Well, that's how you want to know. I don't know what this OPS means. And then if he's got like a 600 OPS, is that good or is that bad? So you're skewing what the batting average. It's 300. If you can hit 300, you're good. If you can drive in 100 runs, you're good. If you can hit 30 homers, you're good. OPS of 600, is that good? He's got a 700 OPS. Is that good? Who the fuck knows? It just means that's how many extra base hits out of his hits that he's got, which is totally meaningless. Again, you want to see the guy. You'll see by his home runs and his RBIs and his batting average what kind of hitter he is. So you're trying to make something out of nothing. In other words, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it ain't broke. Average home runs and RBIs tells the whole story. So they're just tinkering with it around to make it look better, but it really doesn't do anything. It's still, can the guy hit 300? That's all you care about. Bring up a guy that can hit 300 for me, and you might have 10 of those guys in the league. It's ridiculous. And then you got a whole lot of hitters hitting under 125. So you skew it with this on OPS, on base per base. I don't even know what it means. To try to say, well, look, he's got a 600. All it means is how many extra base hits out of his hits that he's got. But I care is, can he hit, and can he hit with power, and can he hit? Can he drive in runs? That's the most important thing is the average and the RBIs. You're hitting 300 and you're driving in 60 runs so far, you're a beaut. But if you're hitting 120, you're probably not, and they're all extra base hits, then it's even worse. Then you're a huge liability, and I don't know what to do with you. So anyway, with that said, that's the point. But the reason is there's not enough major league players out there. And there's a little bit the way they're using the pitchers, you pitch the 6th inning, you pitch the 7th. So they only have to pitch 1 inning. And they're coming in with the bullpens. Boom, 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 boom. 7th inning, here's one. You pitch 1 inning. 8th inning guy comes in. 9th inning guy comes in. So it's harder to hit because you're facing this fresh pitcher. If he's any good, you're facing this pitcher, and it's not as easy if it's the same guy. The third time through the lineup, which I don't buy, but I think if you see the pitcher 3 times, maybe you get a better. I think that's all it is. Not that he's getting tired. You just know what he's pitching. So if you're facing a new guy only going 1 inning, that would be much more difficult to hit. So again, that lowers the batting average and should lower the score. But that's what you're having is just a bunch. It's a nightmare. Putting a guy on second in the 10th inning is gross fast pitch, not Major League Baseball. That's an embarrassment. That's going to be like the NFL with the stupid kickoff rule that they're going to put Fields back to return kicks. Do you return them, or are you just going to fair catch him, or he's going to kick it through the end zone? Like, what are you talking about here? What are you doing with this rule? It's a stupid rule. But I was watching an old game. I was watching the Super Bowl, the Niners, Cincinnati. The Niners score, and then Cincinnati returns the kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown. And their guys, the announcers, oh, this is the most exciting play in football, the kickoff return. And these idiots take it out of the game. Well, there might be injuries. How many guys got injured on a kickoff return? 1 in 100? Okay, so there's some blocking. These are guys that like contact. They like to get hit. It's a physical game. What the fuck are you doing? But it's the most exciting play. Let's go to the 73 Notre Dame SC and Anthony Davis. That's how USC won. It was electric watching him go 102 yards at the kickoff to start the second half. That's why you're watching football, is the electric and the atmosphere. Not, well, he might get hurt. Well, fuck, go play tennis. Go play golf. You're worried about getting hurt. Don't play football. You're going to get hurt in football, but most of them live through it. And most of them, they all got bumps and bruises. Everybody who plays is part of the game. But as a game and as what we're watching, we very much enjoy the big hit. We enjoy the kickoff return, the long pass. And the rules are just whoever's, let's for safety, why don't you put them all in dresses and, let's make it flag football because you guys don't want anybody to get hurt. Go make up a new game. Then let's not call it football. Let's pick up a new game then. All right. So basically we got 4 baseball games. Yankees under 8.5, Cleveland under 8, St. Louis and KC over 8.5. The 2 5-stars to bet are Cleveland under and St. Louis. All right, let's go to the NBA. Where's our guy, Anthony Davis? Baby Jordan. Yeah, I heard that with Harold Miner in the 90s, and he turned out to be baby Miner, not Baby Jordan. All right, so we got OKC up 1-0 on Dallas, 1 seed against 5. We got the 2 seed Denver and the 3 seed Minnesota, and Minnesota's up 2-0. And we got Boston, Cleveland. Boston's up 1-0, the 1 seed against the 4. And the Yankees against Indy. The Yanks are 2-0, the 2 seed against the 6 seed. So let's go tonight. We've got Cleveland, Boston. Boston, the 1 seed, Cleveland, the 4. Boston's laying 13.5 over under 212.5. Dallas and OKC. OKC's up 1-0. Dallas, the 5 seed. OKC's the 1. But yet here, OKC's only 4.5 point favorites with a over under of 218.5. Now, normally I would figure out the over under. So let's see if we can figure it out. Boston and Cleveland. Let's see. Let's go to the stats. 212 points. Now, Porzingis is status is solus. What the fuck does that mean? Date 430. So is Porzingis playing or not? This is an old injury, or is he still injured from 430? Let's try to go to stats. No, I can't get what I want. I'm getting Cleveland. I'm getting players. So basically, Cleveland's got one guy over 20 points, Steve Mitchell. Then there's Garland, 18. Josh Allen, 16.5. He's playing basketball and football. Mobley from Alabama, 15.7. LeVert, 14, and M. Struss, 12.2. So they have 6 guys who are 12 and over. So it's somewhat of a balanced attack. Let's look at Boston. Jack Tatum from Oakland, 27 points. Jim Brown from Cleveland, 23 points. Porzingis, 20. D. White, 15. And Holiday, 12 and a half. So they got 5 guys, with Jack Tatum being their leading scorer at 26.9. And then Jim Brown, which, of course, he's always a good running back, 23. Nobody really rebounds. There's really no assist man. Jack Tatum, 4.9 assists. Dennis White, 5.2. Holiday, 4.8 are the assist guys. The rebounder, Jack Tatum at 8.1. He probably just clotheslines everybody. So, they got 3 20-point shooters. This Porzingis guy, I don't know what position he plays. But Jim Brown and Jack Tatum, so they got some good, at least Jack Tatum out of Ohio State, so he's good. So Boston, yeah, they're the 1 seed. Let's see if we got team comparison. All right, here's what I'm looking for. Points per game. Boston scores 121, Cleveland 113. So where is the defense? Where's the base score? This is so stupid. What's their defense? So in other words, how many points did they let up a game? And I don't see that. I just see Boston scores 121. They get 13. Rebounds, 46. Field goal percentage, who cares? Free throw percentage, who cares? 3-point, who cares? Assists. Boston does. No, Cleveland's got the better assists. Turnovers we don't care about. Assist to turnover ratio, who cares? Block shots per game, who cares? Steals per game, a little edge to Cleveland, but who cares? So if we look at what's going on, Cleveland against Orlando, 3 times Orlando didn't score 100. And then in the loss to Boston, Boston got 120. They only got 95. So they scored a 215 in the first one. Boston seems to score a lot. 111, 104, 102, 118, 120. And they held Miami in the 80s. So here we go, game 1, and they're holding Cleveland in the 90s. So what do we got here? So about a 215. Uh, so it's hard to say. I think this game's an over, but I'm not gonna. I don't know this sport well enough to give overs and unders yet. So I would say there's no way I'm taking Boston lane 13 and a half. I think Cleveland's a good play tonight. They're down 1-0. They got blown out in the first game. It ain't going to happen this game. Let's go Cleveland. Go Cleveland, beat Navy. And we got Cleveland plus 13 and a half. That's huge. Now, they're down 1-0, which psychologically means they're going to play a good game. They want to go 1-1. They probably won't, but they're gonna be in the game. When you get that game one and you blow them out, you never do that in game two. Very, very rarely. And Cleveland's a pretty good team. They got Jim Brown and Jack Tatum on it, or Boston does. Somebody does. Dallas and OKC. OKC handled them again. Now the difference is Cleveland gets 13 and a half. That's a lot of money. Dallas only gets 4.5. OKC really pounded them, so it would make sense, OKC, to pound it. Let's take a look at their team. What football players do they have? So let's go to stats. Dallas, Donuk, 33 points a game. Julius Erving, 25. Tim Hardaway, 14-4. PJ Washington, 11. And Frank Gifford, 11-2. So they're really a man team, Donovan and Julius Erving. And then Tim Hardaway, I thought he retired a long time ago, 14-4. Nobody really gets rebounds, 9-2 by Doncic, assists 9-8. So it's a one-man team, this Luca Brasi guy. That's not good. So I don't know. Then let's check OKC. What do they have? Alexander the Great, 30 points, 5.5 rebounds, 6 assists. John Williams, 19-1. Mark Holmgren, 16.5. The Riddler, 12.5, 3. And Dort, 10.9. So they have this Alexander guy, 30, and then they've got Jeff Williams, 19, and Mark Holmgren, the coach of the Packers, 16. So they got 3 players. Let's see, team comparison. I don't know. Where the hell did I find the points? Wouldn't be an odds. All right, let's look. Dallas scored 101, 116. They lost to the Clippers, and they beat the Clippers 123-93, 114, 101, and beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma won 117-95. They got a pretty weak defense, Dallas. Oklahoma against New Orleans, the Saints, 92-92, 85-89. Just says how bad New Orleans is. And then they held Dallas to 95. So they look like they're a very good defensive team and an under team. Maybe we can take them under. So let's see. 120 and 90s, 210. What's our over under here? 218. So I'm going to say this is an under game. Let's venture into OKC. This Oklahoma, do like I do football, OKLA, under 218.5. So it's hard to score in the 90s on OKC, and Dallas should play them a little tougher. I don't think I have enough points to take Dallas getting only 4.5 tonight. So we'll go under there. So superficially looking at it, come on. OKC's up 1-0 and they're laying 4.5. I'm not sure they're going to lose tonight. Dallas, how good is Dirk Nowitzki anyway? I mean, without him, they're pretty pathetic. This is the problem with basketball. I don't know any of these new guys. They're a bunch of bums. You can't compare to Bird and Magic and Isaiah and Karl Malone and Stockton and Barkley and David Robinson and Kareem. You can't compare them. They're not anywhere near it. See, this is the problem in sports now. The players are nowhere near what I'm used to seeing in the 80s and 90s, basketball, football, baseball. There's no Pete Rose. There's no Bob Gibson. There's no Koufax. There's no Mantle. There's no Mays. This is the problem with sports. This is the problem with baseball. There's no Bobby Orr. Hockey sucks. In football, you got guys like Drake May. What's the matter? We didn't have enough Trubisky and Thurston Howell III. So we're gonna go with Drake May, yeah, versus Marino and Elway. Yeah, no. But I can figure out football enough because I can watch it. And again, it's once a week. So here in basketball, I'm taking Cleveland. I'm betting the loser back in that series. I think it's too much. I think Mitchell can keep it close. It's all Jack Tatum and Jim Brown for Boston, which is okay. But, Tatum's probably going to get thrown out of the game for, hitting Lynn Swan, giving him a forearm, knocking him out of the game. So that's what I see. So don't love it. We'll see later in the series. Don't be surprised if Cleveland wins tonight. Again, when they get blown out, everybody just assumes that's what's going to happen, and they're wrong. It's okay. You won the first game. Now we're mad, and you're relaxed. And when we're mad, we're going to play you much better. So anyway, that's the bottom line. So in the other series, New York Indy, I think Indy at home wins, especially if they're a dog. If Cleveland wins, we bet Boston back. I don't know what to do with Minnesota and Anthony Davis on here. I think you got to take Minnesota at home. I think they just shut them out. I don't know. Denver doesn't look good. And then OKC, Dallas. OKC probably wins. Dallas might win a game at home. We will see, but they are not at home. So game 3 is the only game you can bet Dallas. If they win, great. If they don't win, okay. All right. I was listening to a YouTube on taxes, and the guy's talking about taxes, that Biden's 2025 plan is these huge tax increases, mostly on stocks, mostly on investments, mostly on capital gains. Even if you don't take the capital gains, they're trying to tax you. So they're trying to tax. So as we are very good at going from A to B to C to D. So what does that mean? So A is the Titanic hits the iceberg. What's going to happen after it hits the iceberg? The water's going to come in, the ship's going to sink, and you got to get into your lifeboat. What happens if the guy does these tax increases? Well, you're going to take money out of the economy, which is going to put us in a depression. Two, everybody who's in the stock market, if there's going to be anybody left, is going to say, I love how they assume like nothing's going to happen. If you're in the stock market, you're going to pay tax even if you haven't sold the stock. And when you do sell the stock, you're going to pay a tax. So all these capital gains and stuff. But you just sold the story for gold. Think about it. If I have gold, I'm off the radar. I'm not paying capital gains tax because you don't even know I got it. Three, what's the capital gains? I'm not paying no tax on it. Four, I sell the gold and I'm not paying a cent in tax because there's no cap. I didn't make any money on it. So the beauty of gold is it gets you out of all that bullshit. There's no capital gains tax. There's no capital gain tax if you didn't sell it, right? They want to make you pay on stocks. Now, the other part that we're not talking about is the dollar will be long gone. And if you are in the stock market, guess what? You won't have any money anyway. So if you're in gold, none of this matters to you. Another reason to own gold. No capital gains tax. No capital gains tax when you didn't even sell it. So that's what they want to do is, oh, you own 1,000 shares of Microsoft. Okay, it went up 10 points. You owe tax. Well, I didn't sell it. Yeah, but you own tax because you had a capital gain. So you got to pay tax on the value of the stock now versus what it was, even if you haven't sold it, which makes no sense because it's not a capital gains until you sell it. So that little tax rattle should keep you out of the market forever. Because why do you want to be in a market that you got to pay capital gain? It's hard enough to make money in it because it's so corrupt. But then to actually go in and do that. So I would not recommend anybody in stocks, which I don't anyway, because they're about to crash. Here comes BRICS. And BRICS is coming next week, which could be why we're seeing gold and silver shoot up now. They're going to want a higher gold price because you have to gold back the currency. So if I have 1,000 tons of gold times $3,000 an ounce times 32,000 ounces is as much money as I can print because all my money has to be backed by gold. So if you bring in $100 gold backed currency bill and you go to the bank and say, I want gold for it, they got to give you whatever the amount of the gold is. And the higher the gold price, then they can print more dollars. And, because they want to print more dollars. Zimbabwe is struggling with only 2.5 tons of gold. That's 32,000 times 2.5 versus China's with 60,000 tons. They print a whole lot of money, right? So that's really what you have. So they want a higher gold price. The other thing is, as I read you how they come up with this stupid gold price, which has got nothing to do with buying and selling the physical gold, they want to control it. They don't want COMEX controlling the gold price. When China, Russia, and India got all the gold. Saudi Arabia is going to want a high gold price selling their oil. I don't know what Saudi Arabia is dicking around for. Either you're in BRICS or get out of BRICS. Do you want to be in the gold back system or do you want to be with the U.S. dollar? See, nobody's understanding the U.S. dollar is gone. It's worthless. So when Egon says, well, the debt's going to be, $50 trillion in 2 years. No, it's not. It's not going to be, it'll be worthless. It's going to be zero. The dollar's going out. Why people don't understand this, I don't know. I said it, I was talking to a lifeguard today in the pool, And I basically came out and I said, I'm sure the Romans thought they were fine also. That's my killer line. Gold was 37 an ounce. Now it takes 2,300 to buy the same ounce of gold. And I bet the Romans never thought they could go out. And when you use the Roman line, nobody can argue with you, because that's what happened. They fucked themselves getting the gold and silver out of the money. That's the debasement, pulling the gold and silver out, not printing more money. Inflation's not debasement. When you hear these guys, these idiots on YouTube, you turn it off, because they're clueless. They hear words, but they don't know what they mean. So they try to sound good. Oh, I heard debasement. No, debasement's when you take the gold and silver out of the coin. That's it. And hyperinflation they struggle on. Hyperinflation is the panic of the people that the price of the goods keeps going up. Again, going to get milk and eggs at lunchtime, that's $10, and you go back after work and it's $15, and tomorrow it's $20. Then panic sets in. That's the hyper part of hyperinflation. It's the population gets hyper. Anyway, so once nobody wants the dollar, it's worthless. I don't know who wants the dollar, because clearly nobody's buying our treasuries. We're clearly not going to pay back. We owe $36 trillion. Who the fuck are we? Why would you buy a bond from these guys and expect to get paid back? Are you insane? So anyway, it's another reason for gold and not into the stock market. Who wants to pay these 40% tax on capital gains that you actually sell the stock, and the non-sale part of the stock where you have it and it doesn't, and you didn't even sell it, and they want the 40% on your gain? And it's, what are you, insane? I think Germany used to do that with Boris Becker and Bernhard Langer. They'd have to pay based on their assets, not on their income. That's why everybody moved out of Germany. See, so why would you be in stocks if you're going to pay a capital gift? It's hard enough to pick a winner because it's all fixed. But then you do pick a winner and you got to pay tax on it, and you haven't even sold it yet. I thought you're supposed to buy it and hold. So that's why you buy gold, because ain't nobody know you got it, and there'll be no tax on it because nobody knows any. I don't have any gold. What are you talking about? And so there's no capital gains on it. And then when you go sell it, then sometimes they'll 1099 you. And then, oh yeah, I didn't have any capital. You know what? I bought it for exactly what I sold it for. Gosh darn it. Yeah, I spent 20 grand on it for the ounce, and I sold it for 20 grand. Gosh darn it. I do my best, Galaxy Quest. So that's what's going to happen. Now the question is going to be, what tax? There won't be $1.02 tax. And people won't be working. People will have liquidated their stocks in their 401ks, which will lose a lot of value when the dollar goes out. So everybody's going like business as usual. Oh no, the dollar's fine. That's why all the central banks in the world are buying gold. So that's the other 18th reason to buy gold, is not only do you get out of a depreciating dollar that's worthless, you get out of the stock market where they want to tax you. Even if you sell it, they still want you to pay a tax. It's insane. It's pure insanity. So if you're in a 401k at work or something, retirement account, they're going to start taxing the account because you've made money, and you can't buy gold in that. So it's funny, when I get a job, I don't want 401k. I'm going to give me my money. I'm going to buy gold, and I'll make far more money than you're going to make out there. All right. So that's the NBA. We're learning. Let's look at the NFL. See how I change hats so quickly. The NFL, how will rookie quarterbacks impact the offenses they're joining? And that's not going to happen. Edelman dishes on Kraft Belichick meeting. Who cares? Revenue or audience size? Pro leagues, hands are tied. Who knows? Burrow floats idea for second league-wide bye week. No, he's Joe Burrow. I'll listen to him. Ranking the best situations for this rookie quarterback class. So again, they're all. What I don't like is that they already have an idea. Chicago. Well, it's we already know that Caleb's going to start and Oduzzi's going to be a starter. What if he's Smith Najiba, who sucks on Seattle? He didn't do shit. There's a lot of receivers that are. Marvin Harrison's not going to do shit. Maybe a second year, not his first. And then you have Brock Bowers, and these people are so stupid. He's not going to be a tight end. They have the Notre Dame tight end. Is he any good? I don't know. Oakland, they still need a quarterback. Brock Bowers is not going to be replacing him. Brock Bowers is going to be the slot receiver. He's very fast, great hands, the best tight end in the league. He's like Kelsey, kind of, where Kelsey runs the routes deep. That's basically, he's Kelsey, but twice as good. He's Brock Bowers. So Oakland's going to have the tight end and Brock Bowers and the Packers guy, whatchamacallit, as the wide receiver. They need running back help. They need a quarterback or two. Why they didn't get Hartman? They'd have been all set. If they got Hartman, they'd be in the playoffs. I don't understand the hate for Hartman when he's so good. I mean, it just blows my mind. They probably won't like Cam Rising either. He'll light it up. But he's seventh year. He hurt his knee. We can't draft him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but there's no quarterbacks that are injured in this league. Then they're trying to talk about Bo Nix, and they're saying, well, he's going to be like Jared Goff, where he had a ceiling. What are you talking about? Did you watch Oregon the last 2 years? Because if you did, I don't know what you want. The guy was the best quarterback in football, him and Penix the last 2 years. Caleb was a joke. Daniels looked good the last year. He ran a little bit. Give him credit for lighting up Alabama until the guy cheap shotted him. So that's what you're looking at. You just don't knight somebody. Oh, Drake May will be good. J.J. McCarthy is going to be. You don't know. You don't have shit on him. Nick Mullins should be the quarterback. Then they're saying that Drake May probably won't start. It'll go to Brissett. Brissett's better. I hate to break it to everybody. Daniels, I think they might be an over team. It looks like they got some receivers and running backs. They've needed the quarterback. Thurston Howell was Drake May. He was a pretty high pick that was blown. And so I think that's where you're at with it. And they might be an over team. They don't have a defense, but if Daniels can dance around and like he did at LSU, I think they can score 30 a game. They can't stop anybody. I'd still take Georgia over Washington Redskins, Carolina, the Bears. So do you realize if Oregon or UCLA played the Bears, they'd win by 20? Especially Oregon. Oregon would beat the Bears by 20 because Caleb wouldn't be able to do shit. His other nemesis, Utah. If Cam Rising's playing for Utah and they play the Bears, they'd win by 20. Caleb cannot handle Lowe's defenses. And what's he going to do in the NFL? He's going to struggle with Green Bay. He'll struggle with Minnesota. He'll do okay against Detroit. They don't have a good defense. He'll struggle against the Pittsburgh, a Baltimore, a Cincinnati, a Cleveland, the Hell Division, Kansas City. Forget about it. He'll be lucky to get a first down. So they're just ignoring Caleb. It's just sort of like ignoring the dollar. Well, yeah, the dollars, they're printing, 150 trillion of them, but that's not going to have a problem. It'll be fine. It's the reserve currency, and that's what they'll do with the dollar, right? That's what they'll do with Caleb. They just you. It's easy if you ignore everything, um, which I don't know how you can do. But anyway, it's just funny how so many people just business as usual. Hey, Greg or John. Wow, TK, who is Cam Rising? Utah's quarterback. Caleb is going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. What are you smoking there, Greg or John? You on drugs? Caleb ain't winning no Super Bowl. The only way he goes to the Super Bowl is he buys a ticket and it's in Chicago. You know who Cam Rising is. He's the best quarterback in college on Utah. Gabriel's good at Oregon. Oogly Boogly went to Florida State. What is Florida State thinking? See, this is the problem. You want that 5-star that you get and you develop, and like Georgia's last year guy, even Stenson Benson, I don't even know if he was a 5-star, and they developed him. And then last year they had their guy. And so that's what he's a freshman and he develops and develops. Now it's not, there's no development. It's, we'll take Uglia Buglia. He sucked at Clemson. He goes to Oregon State. He sucks there. Now he's at Florida State. Oh, now he's going to be good? Yeah. Then I see Jordan Travis from Florida State. What is he, Philadelphia's backup, or is one of these teams? Are you fucking kidding me? The guy can't walk. I mean, he's the Jets backup. I don't know. No, I don't know who he is, but he's some backup. The guy can't walk. The guy is not going to be playing pro football without a leg. I mean, it's not going to happen. So it was a wasted. You could have just, if you free agent Hartman, you could have free agent Jordan Travis. I think that was a terrible pick. That shows you how bad the GMs are in the NFL. They're just incredibly stupid. Let's see. NFL schedule release date May 15th. Today's the 9th. That's next week. Rams agree to trade Ben Skoranek to the Texans. Who cares? Former 49er cornerback, Pro Football Hall of Famer Jimmy Johnson dies at 86. He was also the coach of the Cowboys in Miami. Bud Dupree visited the Chargers. Steelers and Falcons also have interest. Free agent Zay Jones meeting with Cowboys released by Jags last month. Yeah, he was one that I kind of laughed at. I thought it was a terrible draft. Already released by the Jaguars. What took so long? It ain't him. It's Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence stinks. They won't admit it. They won't look in the mirror and go, you know what? We made a mistake. Trevor Lawrence sucks. But they won't admit it. If you would have watched him in the big games, he never showed up. In the Clemson, Ohio State games, he never showed up. The LSU game, the Alabama game, he doesn't show up. He runs a little bit, but that's not how you win, right? Lamar's showing you don't win with a running quarterback. So that's the problem. Let's see. Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, torch Chip Kelly. Deshaun Jackson's got a screw loose. Stephon Gilmore, I'm still focused playing, but it has to be the right team. Who cares? Bobby would be interested. Ex-LSU teammates, Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, and Bobby Bowe. Will Levis looking forward to learn the offense from Tyler Boyd. Will Levis sucks. See, but you didn't draft the quarterback you needed because you think you have it in Will Levis, who's terrible. Bo Nix will wear number 10 in the Broncos. Who cares? See, it's all a bunch of bullshit, right? Just busy stuff. This is vampiring at the worst. Texans agreed to terms with 6 draft picks. Who gives a fuck? Greenlaw details how he could have changed 49ers Super Bowl. He got hurt. Rams agreed to trade Ben Scorance, whatever. What advice 49ers great Taylor gave Ayuk? Yeah, catch the ball. Get open and catch the ball. Former 49er quarterback Austin Reed among undrafted rookies to agree to terms. Who's this guy? Where did he play at? I can't even remember. It's a smaller school. Austin Reed among undrafted rookies to agree to terms with the Bears. Caleb won't be the only quarterback taking part in the Bears. The Bears with 9 undrafted rookies on Thursday, and they include quarterback Austin Reed. Reed was a 2-year starter at West Florida before transferring to Western Kentucky for his final 2 seasons. He wasn't that good, though. A lot of the Western Kentucky quarterbacks I liked. They threw a lot. He didn't do shit. All right. But he'll probably beat Caleb out because Caleb's even worse. See, but because Caleb's taken number 1, everybody thinks he's good. And this is the problem with so many people. They won't buy gold because they think, oh, look, it doesn't move. Well, look how the price has developed. I'm going to read that again just for people coming in late. How does the price of gold, how does the prices of gold, how does it happen? The spot price of gold on the COMEX is based on the market price used for future contracts on the exchange. The price of gold is influenced by supply and demand in the gold futures derivative markets, which are set by several banks, an oversight committee, and a panel of chair members. Is that how they price Pepsi at the grocery store? Or the customer comes and he says, it's too expensive. I'm not buying it. They lower the price. They start selling it. What the fuck do you need all this for? The price of gold is influenced by supply and demand in the gold futures, not in the physical gold. In the gold future derivative markets, which are set by banks, an oversight committee, and a panel of chair members. Oh my fucking God. The price used by the largest trades each day or hour has the most influence over the actual spot price, which is fantasy land. This is absolutely a fucking joke how you price gold, physical. Okay, so this is how you price paper gold. How do you price physical gold? Where's that? You don't have a price mechanism to price physical gold. Are you fucking kidding me? How do you not have 250,000 tons of gold and you don't have a price for it? All you have is this derivative bullshit. Unbelievable. It really just makes you sick. Once you start getting into it and you realize how fixed it is, it makes Madoff look like a superstar. And here we go. Look, Luke, 23.46. You getting happy, Luke? See, you're all depressed because it's fixed. Now the fix can't hold it down. Here we go. 23.46. Silver back into the 28.33s. Look for COMEX on Tuesday to knock this sucker to 2,500, 3,000. There we go. 23.46 up $40. That's what we're expecting. That's what makes time travel possible, everybody. So basically, the tax will keep you out of the stock market next year. So Biden's going to put this big tax in on capital gains and stuff like that, and you stay in gold. There's no capital gains. What are you talking about? I don't own gold, but when I own stock, because that goes right. That's listed. And when I buy and sell it, it's all there. You don't know what I bought gold for. Did I sell it? Do I even own it? You only see if I sell it, if they 1099 me, if I'm in America when I do it and not in Switzerland. Luke, there you go. Yeah. What do you hear me? Does your ears burn? LFG. What's LFG? Let's fucking go, Professor. Gold up, silver. Yeah, I told you you'd be happy. So did you hear my explanation of how they price these bullshit derivatives? There you go. 23.46, 28.34. But we're more concerned with the gold price. We know silver is going to go to the moon. There's so much demand for silver, but it's held in this stupid derivative, the paper bullshit derivative. We need 500 ounces for the Tomahawk missile. Let's keep the price down to 28 so we can build it. They don't want silver at 2,000 an ounce, and they need 500 ounces to build a Tomahawk missile. This is what we're fighting, is not a real price. But did you hear the price? I didn't hear, just tapped in. Okay, so I'm going to read you this lovely way that they price. How do you price COMEX? The spot price of gold on the COMEX is based on the market price used for futures contract on the exchange, not physical, futures contract. The price of gold is influenced by supply and demand in the gold futures derivative markets, paper, which are set by several banks. So again, wait a minute, we're not letting the market set the price. The gold and future derivative markets, which are set by banks, an oversight committee, and a panel of chair members. The price used by the largest trade each day or hour has the most influence over the actual spot price. Can you fucking believe that? So there's no physical price. This is fucking fantasy land here. It's not supply and demand, but I like how they try to put it in. The price of the gold is influenced by supply and demand in the gold futures derivative markets. Oh, wait a minute, not supply demand of people buying physical, but the gold futures derivative markets, which is paper, which is bullshit. So anyway, have to like put some energy in the room here. This is what we're at. So as I said earlier, there's the ugly girl at the bar and the hot girl at the bar. This is the hot girl. This is what everybody wants. This is where we're going. And if this Biden tax increase goes in on capital gains, why the hell would you own stocks? Even if you got lucky enough to make money on it, which you're not going to, you don't understand. The economy is going to tank big time because you can't have a $35 trillion debt. You can't print $21 trillion and another $130 trillion in the FX market, $150 trillion, and think it's worth anything. Nobody wants it. The Chinese, the Japanese are not buying your T-bills. There's no demand for the dollar, which means that nobody wants it. It has no value. Yet everybody's walking around like not a problem. Oh, $35 trillion debt. We get to pay $1.6 trillion a quarter. Not a problem. What is that? We'll just keep printing money because the more you print, the less it's worth. So it's already worth zero. Unbelievable. It's a big game and about to break. We know it's a big game. That's why a lot of people don't get in, because they realize it's a big game, but they don't understand the rules, which is what I explained to you is BRICS. The competition with BRICS, wanting the gold-backed currency, is what's going to blow the game up because they have all the gold. They want to price it. And let's just say me and you have gold, Luke. What do we want? We want a higher price. The people who don't have gold don't give a shit and don't want a higher price. Same thing with Bitcoin. We don't have Bitcoin. We don't want a higher price. People in Bitcoin want a higher price. So people with all the gold, the Russians, the Chinese, the Indians, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, all want, and South Africa, all want a higher price on the gold because they have it. And that's where it's going. And Russia and China specifically don't want us to price their gold. We don't have any gold. They have 30,000 tons, 60,000, they got 90,000 tons. All the central banks have another 80, 90,000 tons. There's nothing left. There's a few thousand tons roaming around. But basically between the Russia, China, India, Saudis, and all the central banks, there's no gold left. It's gone. Now everybody has it, wants the price to go up because then they can print more dollars. So if Russia has 30,000 tons of gold and at 2,300, they can only, it's that times 2,300. They're not going to probably use all their gold. Let's say they use 5,000 tons of it times 2,400. That's all the dollars they can produce. But if it's, let's say the 5,000 tons times $10,000 an ounce, they can print a whole lot more dollars, and they want to print a whole lot more dollars. So it's in their best interest to have a higher price so they can print more dollars. Look at Zimbabwe. They only had 2.5 tons of gold. That's 32,000 ounces, and 32,000 ounces is 64 and 16. They only have 32, 64. They only have 80,000 ounces is all Zimbabwe has. They need a higher gold price, and yet their price, their the way they're doing it, the price of their dollar is tied to the price of gold. So Zimbabwe's gold-backed currency is, what is the price of gold times 2.5 tons of gold that we have is how many we can print. So they want a higher gold price. All of Africa is going gold. They're all, as you see, they're breaking away from the U.S. and France. They got all the minerals and the ore and the copper and the zinc and all the other things. I think cobalt and, of course, a lot of gold and silver. So they want a much higher price, and they don't want them in, so they want to price their own. So they're all going to either join BRICS or just do what Zimbabwe did and come out with gold-backed currency, especially if Zimbabwe doesn't fuck up. If they just keep printing enough for the 2.5 tons and not print like they got 50 tons, right? So if you can limit the printing to 2.5 tons, we know it'll work. Let's ask the Romans on that one. And then everybody will copycat, like the NFL. They'll go, hey, Zimbabwe did it. It works really well. And there we go. I was showing a video the other day, Luke, on South Africa. I'll play that. It's 5 minutes, but it's a good thing. It's about communism. It's about socialism versus capitalism. And they're trying to say how socialism. All right.
Hey guys, it's real. The new 2024 stimulus is now available on a first come, first served basis.
Yeah, we don't give it.
My name is Andreas Peschke, and I am the ambassador of Germany. Well, thank you very much, Siyabonga, for the dialogue and reaching out. There's one thing I would like to mention. I listened to you very carefully when you spoke about the Marxist and Leninist principles of your organization. Some here in the room would know I grew up in a communist country. I grew up in a country called the German Democratic Republic, also known as East Germany. So I had a first-hand real experience of really existing socialism. And
communism.
So we had all these Marxist theories. I read a lot of Marxist texts at school. We always had Marx, Engels, you didn't mention Engels, and Lenin in our rooms as the guiding figures. We had nationalized everything. We had nationalized the land. We had nationalized the enterprises. But then after 40 years, we woke up.
After 4 years.
We realized that it didn't work. So the socialism as we experienced it, the communism as we experienced it in East Germany, it simply did not work. So when the Soviet Union broke up, I think we took the destiny in our hands and joined our brothers in Western Germany in order to build a social market economy. So I'm just sharing this and to let you know. And I'm happy, because I'm an example. Maybe it's interesting to you to speak to somebody who has this first-hand experience. I'm ready to share this experience in more detail of how real existing socialism looked like, because we made the experience that it didn't work. And maybe it's good also to try to learn. Everybody has to make its own experiences, but maybe it's also good to learn ukufunda kwa maputa, kwa mabengine from other mistakes. So maybe that's something I would like to offer.
Socialism didn't work in Germany, and you're going to tell us how it failed. But go and also learn from China how socialism works, and it has succeeded in China. It doesn't mean if it has failed in Germany, it will fail everywhere else. We're not Germans, we're South Africans. In China, they've got socialism
The dumbest
with
thing
Chinese
I've ever heard.
characteristics. What stops South Africans from having socialism with South African characteristics? Learning from Germany, what worked, what did not work. Take the good things, leave the bad things. Why capitalism always resort to Chinese principle, to socialist principles
No, it
every time they
doesn't.
get into trouble?
No, it
When
doesn't.
the banks failed in 2008 and put the world into a financial crisis, it was socialist principles that took the world out of that crisis
No, it
through
wasn't.
state intervention. Where was capital at that time? If we go now, we're in Pretoria now. Let's go to commercial crimes or go to liquidation or high court and all of that. Every day without fail, there are private companies that are being liquidated there. Who said if it's capitalist owned or private owned is inherently successful? Who said that? So
I say
it's
Adam
an
Smith.
ideological debate we can have. We know what happened in Eastern Germany. We know what happened in the Soviet Union. We know what's happening in China. We know what's happening in Cuba. So we can have a deeper discussion about whether this is really a way out. We sometimes get fixated on concepts, but in reality, you do the things that you say you don't want to do. Every time capital gets into problems, the state must intervene. Every time. That's when you now see the importance of socialist principles.
Okay, first of all, capitalism doesn't get into problems. All right. 2008 was caused by socialism saying to the banks, you must take loans from people that can't afford them with no credit score who aren't working. That was socialism that caused it. However, the central bank is not socialism. It's not government. And it bailed them out because that's what it's supposed to do. But that is not socialism. Capitalism is the individual running the markets. Socialism / communism is when the government runs the market. So how the hell is he saying that socialism bailed out capitalism in 2008? What's the guy out of his fucking mind? That wasn't socialism. That's the Federal Reserve is not socialist. It is capitalist. That's what their function is, to bail out the banks when the government screws them up, who got them into trouble in the first place. China did not recover. China is not, socialism doesn't work. Look at the housing crisis. Russia, Cuba, yes. East Germany, absolutely. 40 years, socialism didn't work. So what is he going to do? All of a sudden, what is he saying? Okay, first of all, we know the government can't run markets. Only the individuals can run all the individual markets that you have. That's why it can't work, because government cannot run the markets, because they don't know what you're going to buy. Oh, I want to buy tennis shoes. They can't anticipate that. You've got to let the people buy what they want. Say's law. Supply creates demand, not the government. The government can't say, let's sell red shirts. I want a green one. Sorry. So first of all, if it's in East Germany, Cuba, Russia, China, or Africa, socialism isn't going to work because the government can't run the markets. So what the fuck is this guy saying? And then he's trying to say, well, socialism bailed out the capitalism when the capitalism got in trouble. Oh, that was not capitalism that got him into trouble. It was Clinton forcing them to take bad loans. The loans blew up where the interest rates went up, and they blew up the banks. Okay. That was not capitalism. That was socialism. If you would have allowed the banks to only loan out to who they should have, then you would never have had the problem. But the fact that the Fed is not government. The Fed's a bank, and their job is to bail out the other banks if there's problems. But when the problems aren't caused by capitalism, they're caused by socialism. Capitalism has always worked. It's still working. It has never not worked. But what ends up happening is capitalism is so good that all these people make all this money, and then the Bidens and all these losers, Obama, come in and steal the money and do free health care, and let's not pay student loan back, and free Medicare, and and then the Social Security. That's all the socialist programs stealing from the capitalism, because capitalism made you all this money because it works every time. Capitalism has always worked. It has never not worked, and it has never been bailed out by socialism. What the fuck's this guy talking about? But because he says it, do people question it? Did the hand go up and say, what are you talking about, buddy? The socialism didn't bail out capitalism. That's never happened. And what is your plan in Africa that all of a sudden socialism is going to work? It can't work because you can't control the markets. It has to be controlled by the individual. That's why capitalism, in a simple form, capitalism is we control the markets. I want a steak, I want Chinese, and I go buy it. Say's law. That's capitalism. Adam Smith. It always works. That's the whole point of it. Socialism is government control. Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela, Argentina, Zimbabwe. This is why all these countries, Greece, are going under, because they print and they think they can just keep printing and printing and printing. So South Africa, if they go to socialism, forget about it. It can't work. It'll never work. I don't know how many times you have to prove it. Well, that was Russia and Cuba and Venezuela, but we're South Africa. We're going to do it differently. You can't do it differently. It's government runs the markets, and it doesn't work. And no matter how many times you want to think it can, it can't. The guys in East Germany said, look, we tried, government ran everything. It was all public. Nothing was private, and it didn't work. And then here's the guy we talked to from Sweden. And he said, well, we went off of free market in the 70s and 80s, and it didn't work. We went bankrupt, so we switched back to capitalism and the free market, and that's what works. Free market works. Capitalism, 100% of the time. And don't tell me, well, they had to go to socialism. Okay, give me an example. You'd make me give you an example if I said, name one time that socialism bailed out capitalism. And you'd say the banks. I go, that's not socialism. The Fed is not the government. The government is the government. The Fed is a bank. So it's like saying, well, it's like saying Chase bailed out the banks. Well, that's not socialism. And that's not the government. And the bailout isn't the socialism. The socialism is the government runs the markets. How was the government running the market there in 2008 to bail out the banks? And the only reason the banks failed is the socialism. So that's the problem with when these idiots talk. He makes some comments and people believe him, but he doesn't make examples and he can't prove his comments. And then people go, yeah, socialism does work. It does bail out capitalism. So people without understanding just go to, yeah, this guy's right. He's not right. It's full of shit. He's not right, but you think he's right because of what happens. So he's basically not right. Let's look at, this is 6 years ago. This is on tariffs, which we know is not good. Anytime you raise taxes and you raise costs, what happens? You sell less, right? You raise costs, sales drop because it's too expensive. Just like what's going on in the grocery stores now. You make Cheerios $5 a box, Now you're putting them on sale 2 for $5 because you can't possibly sell them at $5 a box. So let's listen to tariffs.
25% tariffs on steel? No.
You will have protection for the first time in a long while.
Yes, a tariff protects some American steelmakers. But what about the millions of companies that make things from steel parts? They're all going to be hurt. Did we learn nothing when we saw the damage done when Bush raised tariffs on steel?
1929.
And consumers are going to be hurt.
What's been allowed to go on for decades is disgraceful.
Trade is always under attack. During the election, the bad guy was NAFTA.
There has never been a trade deal as bad as NAFTA.
Many Democrats agreed.
NAFTA cost us jobs, 850,000 jobs.
But he's just wrong.
Okay, first of all, NAFTA is free trade. Free trade is the only trade that works. So in other words, if I trade Bobby this Mahomes card, there's no tariff on it. I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to give you the card, you give me money, and then I'm going to charge a 20% tariff on top of it, right? Free trade means, okay, we agree for $500, you can have the card. Here's the card, give me the 500. That's free trade. That's the only thing that works, not, oh, by the way, you owe me another 10% on that. But he's not going to buy it. Wait a minute, it's too expensive.
NAFTA's reduction in tariffs and trade barriers did good things for America.
Millennials love avocado toast, avocado anything.
Take the current avocado craze.
Authentic, nutritious.
I like avocados. I'm not a
What would have
millennial.
happened without NAFTA? Because in winter, American avocados are scarce. But in other parts of the world, avocados are
In season year-round.
Avocados from Mexico.
Today, Mexico provides Americans with most of our avocados, and we pay less for them than we would have without international trade. But the imports did not drive American producers out of business.
The iPhone is the result of years of innovation.
Trade also makes new things possible.
Ah.
Apple gets the special materials it needs for iPhones by going to the Congo, Mongolia, Egypt, Brazil, 63 countries in all.
Extract silver and platinum from the main logic board.
Materials are shipped to smelters in 34 different countries. Apple could do more of this in the United States, but different places offer different skills. Turkey and China are good at smelting. Digging through rock is cheaper in Mongolia. And so on. Apple then ships its refined metal to a bunch of other countries, where it's assembled into phones.
An aluminium body and formed sheet of glass.
Still, that's just a shiny piece of metal, glass, and plastic without the software.
And for the first time, you can actually define the light in a scene.
The highest paying jobs are those held by techies, most of them in America, who design the software and program the phone.
This is iPhone 10.
This phone is possible and affordable only because of global trade.
This is a strike at the heart of Michigan.
But what about trade's downside?
Before NAFTA went into effect, there were 285,000 auto workers in Michigan. Today, that number is only 160,000.
Trump is right. But that's mostly because robots now allow car makers to make cars with fewer workers. The total sales of cars and car parts are up. Americans prosper when we specialize in things we produce most efficiently. Things like high-end machinery, energy, intellectual property like movies, music, medicine, internet startups. Not only do Americans make more money producing those things, the jobs are better. Farming and factory work are much more dangerous and physically demanding. Would you rather your kids work here or in an air-conditioned office? Finally, trade hasn't reduced the total number of American jobs. Today, a record number of Americans are working. It's time to stop applauding when politicians say ignorant things like this.
Not only did I oppose NAFTA, I stood on picket lines with workers in opposition.
He and those workers just don't understand what creates a better life for people. Yes, trade hurts some Americans, but many more are better off, much better off, because of trade.
See, that's what caused the depression and the stock market crash in 1929 was tariffs, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. And so can we not learn from the past? That's what caused it. So let's not do it. NAFTA is free trade. Free trade's always the best because you got different countries do things better than other countries. China does certain things that we do that do better than us, and Japan does things better than China, and Norway does things better than China, and Sweden, and whole country by country, they have certain things they do better. And that's what you want, free trade. Take the better parts. And so now you get worried about Trump going, wait a minute, he wants to put tariffs on stuff. That's going to kill the economy also. It's a terrible thing to do. So anytime you increase cost on anything, the sales drop, right? So if you want to, if you're selling this for $10, I'm buying it. You sell it for 20, I'm not. It's as simple as that. So your profit goes down if you don't sell it than if you do sell it. It's very simple economics. And so that's why I'm worried about Trump, because I don't think he's too worried about, let's put tariffs on it. We'll make it more expensive. So he understands competition. If I make it more expensive, then the U.S. steel companies can sell it. But the problem is, that's not what happens. So let's say the U.S. steel company wants to sell steel at $100 an ounce or whatever you sell it at. And the competition drives it down to 50. And the U.S. can't compete. Then you put this big tariff on. So now it's 150. So what does the U.S. companies do? Instead of selling it at the 100, they go and make it 149. So they beat the tariff by $1. So they raise their price up to the tariff. And the people buying the steel have to pay more anyway, which causes recessions and depressions when costs go up, which is why we're in a recession. So when you guys ask me, and I've told you for the last few years, interest rates have gone up. Things are more expensive. We are in a recession and a lot of unemployment. So that's all you can say. But that's why I want to teach, and people need to understand that, because people don't understand that. It's clear and obvious. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So again, our baseball picks today: the Yankees under 8.5, Cleveland under 8, St. Louis, KC over 8.5, and the 49ers. The picks are Cleveland under 8 and St. Louis are your 5 stars. No 10 stars today. In the NBA, Cleveland plus 13.5 and Oklahoma under 218.5. And we'll see. We're just getting our feet wet with basketball. And really, baseball, we've been doing it for a while. We're starting to catch on to the good pitchers and the bad, and the good teams and the bad, like Philly's hot, Cleveland's hot, so you start, and it rotates. And every team will get hot. Every team will get cold. And that's what you're looking for. But don't expect half these players in the draft to even play. And then don't expect the quarterbacks, if they play, to even play. And they're not going to play good. So if you want to start Caleb off the first game, we're betting heavily against Chicago the first 2 or 3 weeks. And then we'll see. After 7 interceptions and no touchdowns, and he runs a little bit, he's going to get sacked 20 times. He doesn't know how to read. You got to get rid of the ball immediately, not go back and roll around and then you get sacked. That's what's going to happen. So is he going to run? I don't know. Drake May shouldn't start. The guy at Minnesota shouldn't start. There's no way J.J. McCarthy's better than Nick Mullins. don't remember what college Nick Mullins played for, but he's much better than J.J. McCarthy. So that's a wasted first round pick like Trey Lance. J.J. McCarthy's Trey Lance, Drake Mays, Thurston Howell III, and Mitch Trubisky. Caleb is, who is he? Somebody on Batman, but he's not very good. And then you got Penix and Bo Nix. Bo Nix is your Justin Herbert. And nobody's Burrow and Mahomes in this draft. Cam Rising will be next year. So that's what we're looking at as far as that. Was there something else I was wanting to talk about? NBA, NFL, gold, BRICS next week, next Tuesday. They will announce a gold-backed currency. When it gets in, it'll be soon. We're waiting on Saudi Arabia to come in. I'm sure they want to get gold for their oil. The U.S. is fighting it until the U.S. to fuck off. That's what I would say. That's about it. So buy your gold. You can't lose. It's a lock. Buy this. It's a lock. This was $650 like a week and a half ago. It's holding there, right about $650. But when it hits 2,400, it'll be $700. But I don't even look at it like that. I don't say I bought it for $650. I'm selling it at $7. I made $50. I mean, there's some quarter ounces I bought probably at $450, and they're $650. I don't care. I am not selling it at these cheap prices. These are extremely cheap prices. And I read you how they're priced. They're priced in derivative action, paper action. It's insanity, not physical, not based on what you bought and sold at the store. How the fuck do you get a price not doing that? Well, we have a panel. Oh, okay. What the fuck? BRICS is the 14th to the 19th in Kazan, Russia next week. So it's next Tuesday, probably Tuesday to Friday. So I will keep you informed on Tuesday. But, and again, they're 7 hours ahead of us. So basically what that means is when we wake up, they're already done for the day. I get that with Daria all the time. Really, when I go to bed at like 12 o'clock, it's already 7 in the morning. She's getting up for work probably by 1 o'clock. And then, so I'm up at, let's say 8. It's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon there. So that's what you got to adjust to is their days. Like now it's 5 o'clock. It's midnight there. So they're going to sleep, and I'm still, I got 7-8 hours left. And by the time I go to sleep, they're getting up for work the next day. So we will have a good jump. But I know according to Mark McGuire, they're coming out with the gold. So we will see. But there's too much demand for gold. There's no way the U.S., everybody hates the U.S. I don't see how they're going to bully everybody to do it because China and Russia are already, they're the bullies also. They're going, no, you're not bullying us. So that's where that's at. What else? Stoic, we stay stoic. We know this is the hot blonde. We know it. Therefore, you can't talk us out of it. And that's what we want in our hot blonde that's what we're expecting is our hot blonde to come through for us. So she's, you want to compare hot blonde to old fat blonde. So this one's out, and here's the new one. And then, so this is what everybody should be getting into and getting out of this, because this is done. It was here for 100 years. It's gone. 19, 1945 was when the gold standard came in, and then it went out in 71. So it's been 50 years since the hot blonde's been there, and she's back, and everybody wants her. So just you can't lose in gold. Now we see how it's priced in the Ponzi scheme of, well, there's a panel and there's banks and but not free market, and it's in derivatives. It's not in the physical gold and silver prices. And that's what China and Russia want. They want the physical prices. They don't want this bullshit. So we'll see what happens, but we'll have a better idea next week. Everything goes according to plan. They'll be announcing a gold-backed currency, and then we'll be the demand for gold will go through the roof. Maybe not that week, but within a few weeks, and then by June 1st, we should see a significant price increase. And I don't mean to push it back, but here's the meeting is May 14th, so we're giving it a few weeks from May 14th to really go. But May 14th, we should see a lot of activity, and that may be why we're seeing a lot of activity today. Is people, like I said, they're starting to realize the Titanic's sinking. So they hit the iceberg, but they don't realize it's sinking. It can't sink. We're the Titanic. And the water's coming in, and the water's coming in, and they can't put two and two together until the boat's halfway down, and they realize, shit, we better get on the lifeboat. And here's our lifeboat. So you better get into that. But we're not going to wait till the dollar's down. We're getting in the lifeboat now, but we're in it so early that we're okay. When's it going to go up? Well, we're not concerned when. We just know it will. When is this going out? It's the same question. So when is this going to zero? Well, it is, but people don't realize it yet. So as soon as people start waking up, going, this is worthless. This is where I need my money at. Once people realize what's going on, then should be a no-brainer. And again, 250,000 tons is not a lot, especially when the BRICS countries probably own 200,000 of it between the central banks and everything else. So that's all I can say. But we're dead on, and it's about to happen. So who wants dollars? See, we don't want them, but we know we've got the magic recipe that we actually understand what's going on. Most people are clueless. So it's like the Titanic. Yeah, we hit that iceberg, but we're not going to sink. We can't sink. We're the Titanic. We're unsinkable. And this is the problem. So people on that boat never put two and two together that they were sinking until they were 3/4 of the way down. And that's what I keep saying. We're 3/4 of the way down here. Understand this is sunk, and understand this is your lifeboat. And you can't say, oh, well, the dollar is the global reserve, so it's not going away. If you print 21 trillion and you have another 130 trillion for FX money exchanges, that's $150 trillion you got out there. It ain't worth anything. Luke, I wonder how fast it will move with the price. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Once people catch on and realize the dollar's worthless, and maybe that comes out in the BRICS meeting, that they say, you know what, the dollar's worthless. We need gold, da, 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 da. We want gold for our oil, da, 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 da. And that's what I would expect to happen. Again, it's in Kazan, Russia. Putin's running the thing, so I would imagine he's going to be very stern, and he's pissed about this stupid war that won't end because of the defense contractors. So it's not like, well, we don't want to piss off the Americans. Believe me, Putin's the first one to want to piss them off. And then there's China, who has got a lot. Why does China want to keep dealing with the U.S.? The U.S.'s money's worthless. Why does China want to send their goods? Why do they want to keep business going with somebody whose money's worthless? That doesn't make sense. So they're better off, selling to somebody in BRICS instead of the U.S., like India or South Africa or something. If the whole system collapses along with the stock market, escalator up, elevator down, could really screw things up. No, it shouldn't. If it does, it's to cause a panic to go into these CBDCs or something. But all that needs to happen is you go, medium of exchange has now been changed from this to this. This is your new medium of exchange. We're going to print a bunch of dollars backed by gold, the anchor, and this is your new money. And all you're doing is going, this is your money. Okay, as of tomorrow, this is your new money. And then just print these backed by the gold. You don't actually need the coins. You can just come out with new dollars backed by gold, saying this is worth a half an ounce of gold or whatever. And then you just use this, and then everything gets repriced in gold. I mean, that's all they got to do. It's not that big of a deal. Look what Zimbabwe did. They just did it, right? It's brand new. It just went in like a week ago. So there's nothing to it. You just go, the dollar is now worth, $10 buys you one gold back currency. And then you just start flipping your prices to 1/10. So steak that's $10 is now $1. $1 for a New York strip, but a gold back dollar. That's all you got to do. It should be very seamless if you know what the fuck you're doing, but I don't know they're doing it on purpose. So the question is, normally what 9/11 was a purpose to get the whole Patriot Act and stuff. So this is a whole thing to get what CBDCs rolled out. Like we're all gonna run the digital dollars. Yeah, good luck on that one. And people will join because the government says so. And all these people at the border. I'm more concerned about that. I told you I was going to Myers last week, and this guy was talking Mexican and very loudly, which is very unusual. Normally, when I walk in there, you don't hear the other people's conversations. You just walk, everybody just kind of walks in and just pretty calm, and then you grab your cart and you go shop. And these guys are very loud, saying that we're, Mexican. And I got a little kind of concerned about that. Why are they talking so loud? That's very unusual. I thought they were people from the border that had arrived here and are trying to fuck around with everything. So just be careful of that. As far as screwing things up, the whole idea of BRICS gold back currency is to compete. So now all the BRICS countries, and there'll soon be 40 of them who want to get off the dollar, will all go into BRICS and use the gold back currency. And then nobody will use the dollar. So that's the transformation taking place. Egon wants to go to Germany. Egon just uses his gold back currency. If Switzerland's even in BRICS, which it's not now, does he buy the BRICS gold back currency to go to Germany? I would imagine that's the point. Also, is to be it's supposed to be to compete with the U.S., but does this really compete? Does this possibly compete with this? Who is going to want this over this? This one's 100% of the time. Because this, oh, by the way, this is now worth 5 cents. This is still worth this is not worth 650 anymore. It's worth 700. I mean, that's how you look at it. So there's no world where this is better to have than this. And in every world you want this, and that's the price of whatever you're buying. Houses, cars, or anything. It should just transform over. It should be very easy to do. And then when you're selling things, you're calculating. Let's see. Well, this was $100, but now it's 10-1. So now the gold dollars are $10. And if I have a Toyota Camry, it's 25,000. Now divided by 10, it's now 200 or 2,500 for a Camry with a gold-backed currency. And everybody's going to go, yeah, I'm confident in the gold-backed currency. I'm not confident in the US dollar. And so that's what ends up happening is there's no confidence, and then the dollar's done. So the whole system has been collapsed for years. That's what you don't see. See, you don't, if you don't see that this is screwed up, then that's the problem, right? Did you see, in 2008, did you see that the banks were done? No. Did you see anything there? No. So therefore, you didn't see it. So when they bailed them out, which is the banks bailing themselves out, you're not really seeing. You don't really see. I was talking to a lifeguard today. I go, well, I know this is 650. This is 2,300 divided by 4. It's 650. And I get that. That's what this is worth, 650. I don't know what this value is. What is this valued at? Well, it takes 650 of these to buy one of this. This is a quarter ounce. So I know it's 650. That's the only thing I can value the dollar, and it makes sense. But even then, like I said, there's prices that are all over the place. A house is not equal to gold, and a car is not equal to what a gold was in 71. And Pepsi was 10 cents, is now 250, is not equal to gold going from 30 cents. You can't, there's no even. It's just a matter of switching the price. I mean, how do we develop the prices in the first place? The market, the free market, not the government. The bond market's already collapsed because nobody in the right mind would take a bond. It was really funny. There was 2 episodes on TV that I saw about savings bonds. One of them is Leave It to Beaver, the lost episode. It was never done. And I go, oh, I like the Beaver, so let's see. And it was about savings bonds, and Ward was making a big deal about it. And I'm thinking, they're trying to get you into savings bonds because they need a buyer for the bonds and nobody's buying. So they're going to want us to buy the bonds. And if you are stupid enough to buy the bonds, you'll never. So a bond is, here's a $50 bond cost me $38. And after you buy a 5-year bond, well, guess what? You'll never get paid back because they don't have the money to pay you back. So anybody stupid enough to buy a bond in this economy, in this climate, you're going to lose it because there's no value. Nobody's going to the U.S. doesn't have the money to pay you back, which is what a bond is, right? I'll give it to you. You give me interest and then give me my principal back in 5 years. So here's $500 and I get $50 a year in interest and I get my $500 back at the end of 5 years. Well, guess what? You're never going to get your money back because they can't pay back the debt. It's already 35 trillion, which they can't pay back. Do you think they're going to pay you back? Okay, good luck with that one. And that's the problem. So that's really what you must understand is you're just basically, you're fucked in and waiting for the banks to go under, you're fucked being in the bank. And then the stock market, good luck with that. Because when people realize the dollar's out, they sell all their stocks and just get their money out. And they'll want to put it somewhere in their country or buy gold with it, which probably is what they'll do with it. And that's it. So once we get to that point, the market's gone. The banks are gone. And that's what's going to end. It's not like, oh, next year, no, it's gone. They're done. So then you go to a regular market. You go to a regular free market. That's the answer. As I said yesterday, if I'm president, all my money's backed by this. Free trade, low taxes, 5%, Constitution, laws that you must obey, and that's it. We're going to the gold standard, people. And that's it. There's no option. This is what we're doing. This is how I'll fix this country, and I know that's how I fix it because I got my notes that say that's how a country gets run. There's low taxes, low government spending the budget, a gold standard, free trade, and a constitution where you follow the fucking laws. And you don't let people in your borders, and you don't inflate the money to zero, and you don't tax 44% for capital gains. So everything this clown's doing is terrible. You don't raise what when you raise tax, what that really says is you're giving your money to the government, and they're going to spend it better than the private sector, which never works. Socialism doesn't work because the government keeps the money, and it doesn't work when you tax because the government gets the money. And there's no money left for the markets. You wanna go golfing. Well, I don't. Yeah, my money's in taxes. I can't fly to Florida or you went to Mexico, Luke. I can't fly there. I don't have the extra money for it. So that's really the problem with high taxes. High taxes is not the answer. You're punishing the whole country so the government can steal more money from us. Like the inflation isn't enough. Well, just keep printing, Biden. Why don't you just keep printing the money? And then we'll see. Then we'll see what happens after that. We'll see we'll see how the greatest depression in the world will be there because nobody will have money, so the government cannot spend its way out of a depression. That's why the Great Depression lasted 15 years, because the idiot Roosevelt tried to spend his way out of it. Well, we'll have bridges and we'll have a highway and we'll build a dam. Yeah, the depression's still here. It's been 10 years. And the only way it stopped is the war where we got paid for it. And so people went back to work in the private sector. That's what gets you out of a depression, is basically work. Anyway, there's so many. Well, it's really the whole process. You can't have a government. They don't know what they're doing. You think Biden has a clue? You think Obama has a clue? You think any of them have a clue? Trump doesn't have a clue. He's a businessman. He's clueless. He doesn't understand what he's doing or how it affects everything. So that's really the big problem, is they just don't get it. But you need a specific person to be a president. It's like me. I can be like the finance manager or finance director, but I couldn't be the IT director. I don't know anything about IT. And that's the problem with government. I don't know anything about it. So therefore it won't work. How could I run the country? I don't know what's required. I can learn as I go, but it's going to take a while. And that's really the big problem. But raising taxes, I mean, I would try to get rid of all income tax. I would make it zero, and we'll get our taxes on sales tax. So when you pay 6% on sales tax, that's how we'll have our money to run these social programs. But I would get rid of Social Security. All you have to do is do a payout. All right, Mr. Robbins, it says here, this is what you make a month. We're going to give you $300,000 one-time lump sum payment, and then we won't give you any more Social Security. And I go, where do I stand? Thank you very much. Where do I stand? And all the football players, it's a little harder to judge, could get screwed. Not by me, but they could get screwed. But that's the key, is just running free markets and running gold, and you don't have any in the world. Why do they keep getting off of gold? I mean, didn't you realize gold keeps the economy strong, keeps the dollar strong, and that's what you need. It goes back to having a good quarterback. You can have all the guys you want. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're not going to win, and that's what they want. So anyway, all right, 516 again. The Yankees under 8.5, Cleveland under 8, St. Louis, Kansas City over 8.5, and the 49ers are the 5 plays. The Cleveland under, St. Louis are the 5 units. In the NBA, we like Cleveland in 13.5, and Oklahoma, we like under 218.5. Very small. Those aren't 5 units. Those will come later in the round as we get teams up 2-1. Teams 3-0 have to win or stuff, things like that we'll start getting into. But at this point, there's no point. We don't want to force it. We don't have a real good look at it. We want Boston as the dog. We want what we got with Milwaukee over Cleveland. All right. Well, let's check our goal one last time. $23.46, up $37. And silver at $28.33. We're rolling. You got $1 up on silver, and then 23. So what doesn't make sense is silver's running up to $28.33, then it goes down 50 cents, and you're like, well, wait a minute. The demand for silver is pushing the price up. The demand didn't go away. Why is the price going down? That's the problem with COMEX. It doesn't make sense because it's not free market. And it needs to be blown up into a free market, which I think is what Russia and China want to do, and run their own price based on physical supply and demand, not this. Well, it's based on the supply and demand of the derivatives. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm not smelling what you're cooking there. All right, I think that's about it. Any other comments, questions, Luke, Greg, or John? Bobby, where the hell are you? You owe us a bunch of silver. Anybody know him, Luke, or Greg or John? Do you know him? You seem to like he knows you. Just what's he doing? Is he okay? All we care about is he's okay, but we do miss him in class. Anyway, that's it. So I'm going to try to teach, but I need students. I need to market it. Anybody can help me on that. Let me know. I do need to say, hey, I'm out there. And we go from there. I get about 40 people or so watching this between live and watching it later, which is fine. But I'm not going to charge you guys at this point. If you want to learn the economics and go into class, then it's $25, and that's fine. But you guys kind of get my lecture here. All right, I'm very tired. All right, that's about it. So I'll let you go. www.teaserking.com. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.